Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to let you know the judge is running a little late this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Peña. Just to let everybody know that just logged in right now, judge is running just a little bit late this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let me call the docket. I apologize for being late. Personal situation happened unexpectedly, caused me to be late. So I apologize to everybody who's been waiting. So the 357 District Court will call its court into session for today's docket hearing Friday, March 25th, 2022, starting with 2019 DCL 2346, Volkman versus Arcena Properties LLC. Mr.
Your
Sullivan.
Honor, Gilberto,
Yes, Your Honor. Thomas Sullivan for the plaintiff.
Your Honor, Gilberto Hinojosa for the defendant. Your Honor, we filed a motion to stay proceedings in this case because of the fact that, as the court recalls, there was an order requiring the plaintiff to deposit rents into the registry of the court a couple of years ago. And it turned out that most of those rents were not deposited as required by the court order, and therefore we have filed an eviction proceeding against the plaintiff. It is pending in one of the county courts at law. I've attached a copy of that to our petition, Your Honor. The damage model that the plaintiff in this case is relying on is predicated upon them remaining on the property. And so we think that the issue of whether or not they can remain has to be resolved before we can proceed forward with this damage. It's an injunctive and a damage claim as well. The injunctive claim also will be resolved, may be resolved in the eviction proceedings, because we were trying to evict them. They've asked for an injunction preventing us from evicting them. However, because they have failed to meet our position is because they have failed to meet the obligations, the rental obligations of the lease, then we're entitled to evict them. So we're asking for a stay to allow us to resolve the proceedings in the county court at law eviction proceedings. And then once that's resolved one way or the other, then we'll come back to the court on that issue.
Sullivan.
Well, Your Honor, I disagree with Mr. Hinojosa in that the damage model is minimal and is dependent upon our staying in the premises. But I do not oppose the motion to stay. The damage model is for the entire time that the plaintiff had been in the facility. But I do not oppose the motion to stay.
And so how long is this proposed stay for what? What is the status of the county court case?
It was filed, we filed it a couple of months ago. Mr. Sullivan had filed an answer, and we were going to be filing a motion for summary judgment on that. So if the court can reset this for, let's say, 120 days and see where we're at that time. It's in a county court, not in a JP court.
I read that. County Court Law number 2.
Yes, Your Honor, before Judge Gonzalez.
Give me 4 months from now. That's when I have that murder case, no? Give me look at August. You tell me. 15? August 15? That will be for further proceedings here, I guess. What are we setting this for? Trial?
Yeah, I guess so, Your Honor, for setting for trial.
Yeah, August 15th. What day is that? It's a Monday. That work?
Yes, Your Honor.
You want to push it further if it's a trial or what? Mr. Hinojosa?
I'm looking just to make sure that I'm all right that day. there's a trial set in this court, Your Honor, with Judge Hinojosa in the Port Isabel versus Teresa Fonseca case on that same day. So either one will go, I guess, at that time.
So I'll leave it for August 15th, and then we'll see what happens to the other case.
Okay,
All right.
that's fine. I'll prepare an order, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Announcements on the 12th.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
2021 DCL 3242, Ivan Matthew Maldonado, Mr. Cornejo. Mr. Cornejo. Ivan Matthew Maldonado. We have neither one of them?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well, we'll recall it. Hopefully we'll show up.
Can you hear me, Your
2021
Honor?
Yes,
I have a really bad connection, Your Honor. My apologies.
well, I haven't called your
Can-
case. So I haven't
Oh,
called
I'm
your
sorry.
case. I haven't called your case, Mr. Garcia, so if you get a rooster from me in Federal Express, send it back.
Will do, Your Honor. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay, thank you. All right, now, 2021 DCL 3131, Laurent Marie Schaefer, Mr. Sayas. Mr.
Richard
Sayas.
Sayas here, Your Honor.
Okay.
I spoke with Master Kendall. He's unopposed to the entry of the judgment, so I'll be submitting a judgment for entry, Judge.
Mr. Kendall, have you reviewed the petition, and is that correct? I can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Mr. Kendall.
Nope. Uh-oh. Yes, you
It's
reviewed.
correct.
Okay, let's go that route. Let's go the signal. Let's go the smoke signal way. All right. Read the order, and it's okay. Just nod your head. Yes? Okay. All right. The court having seen the state's nodding of assent to this order, the court will grant it.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be submitting the order within 7 days. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a
Thank you, Your
good
Honor.
day.
May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
2020 DCL 5827, Brenda Janet Guevara and Rodrigo Guevara, Ms. Gomez, Mr. Garza.
Good morning, Your Honor. It's Erin Garcia on behalf of Ms. Brenda Guevara.
Fernando Garza on behalf of Rodrigo Guevara. Your Honor, we mediated and settled yesterday afternoon. We're ready to prove up a final divorce.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, who is going to be testifying to, Ms. Guevara and who?
Both parties, Your Honor, Mr. and Ms. Guevara.
Mr. Guevara, unmute yourselves. Mr. Guevara and Ms. Guevara, unmute yourselves. And raise your right hands, please.
You
Mr.
need to
Guevara,
unmute yourself, Ms. Guevara. You need to unmute yourself.
unmute yourselves. There you go. Raise your
You
right
need
hand.
to unmute yourself, Ms. Guevara.
You're muted again.
Can you unmute yourself?
We're going, Your Honor. My staff is, she's in our conference room.
Okay, well.
There we go.
Okay, now you go. How about you, Mr. Guevara?
Right hand. Ms. Guevara, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, Mr. Guevara.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Ms. Guevara, I'm going to direct these questions at you, ma'am. Would you please state your name for the court?
Brenda Janet Guevara.
Are you presently married to Rodrigo Guevara Navarro?
Yes.
Have you been residing in Texas for the preceding 6 months and a resident of Cameron County prior to filing this divorce action?
Yes.
Were you married on or about November 11th of 2000 and ceased to live together as spouses on or about June 2021?
Yes.
Has your marriage to Mr. Rodrigo Guevara Navarro become insupportable due to discord or conflict of personalities that destroys the legitimate ends of the marriage relationship?
Yes.
Is there any possibility that you all will reconcile?
No.
Were there any children adopted?
No.
There were 3 children born of the marriage. However, only one child is currently a minor child. Is that correct?
Yes.
That is your daughter. Her initials are SBG. She's a female, born May 9th, 2010. Is that correct?
Yes.
With regard to custody, possession, and access, you all have agreed that you will be appointed joint managing conservators. You will have the primary right to designate the residency of your daughter within the geographical restriction of Cameron and Hidalgo County. Is that correct?
Yes.
You all have agreed that Mr. Guevara is going to have standard visitation access to your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have also agreed that you all are going to have electronic communication. Is that correct? Between your daughter and her dad?
Yes.
You all have also agreed that child support is going to be set at $1,800 per month beginning June 1st of 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
Medical support will be set at $75 per month beginning April 1st, 2022. And you are going to apply for the Texas CHIPS program. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you currently expecting a child at this time?
No.
Now, with the division of assets, with regard to the marital home that is located in San Benito, Texas, this home is going to be listed under the standard for sale clause provisions in Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Until this home is sold, Mr. Guevara will be 100% responsible for the mortgage payments on this house. Is that correct?
Yes.
You are going to be allowed to reside in this home in San Benito until May 31st of this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Once the sale of the home comes to be and there are proceeds to distribute, we have agreed that they will be distributed as follows. Any balance remaining on the mortgage of the home with PHH loan number ending 6261, the balance due to Best Buy, the balance due to Gordon's Jewelry, the balance due on your American Express, the balance due on Mr. Guevara's American Express, any pending property taxes that may be due on the San Benito property on Golka Road, and any property taxes that are due on the Edinburgh, Texas property located at 908 West Highway 107. Is that correct?
Yes.
After all of those debts are paid and liquidated, the remaining proceeds will be distributed 50% to you and 50% to Mr. Rodrigo Guevara Navarro. Is that correct?
Yes.
With regard to the marital property that is located at 908 West Highway 107 in Edinburgh, Texas, that will be awarded 100% to you. You will be fully responsible for the mortgage payment beginning April 1st, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have agreed that you're going to refinance this property within 6 months to remove Mr. Navarro from the promissory note obligation on this property. Is that correct?
Yes.
In the event that you fail to make that mortgage payment, the property will be listed for sale under the standard for sale clause provisions, and you will be entitled to 100% of the proceeds on the sale of the Edinburgh property. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have agreed that you're going to be 100% responsible for the taxes on that property. Is that correct?
Yes.
You and Mr. Guevara have also agreed that you're going to each be awarded and entitled to your personal effects and any belongings that you currently have in your possession. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're going to be awarded your 2021 BMW 430i along with any debt associated with that vehicle, and you will begin insuring that vehicle beginning April 1st, 2022.
Yes.
You're going to be awarded 50% of Mr. Rodrigo Navarro's 25% interest in the lot that is located on International and Expressway 83 via a special warranty deed that our office is going to prepare. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're going to be awarded 50% of the Wells Fargo Bank joint checking account, 100% of the Wells Fargo Bank that is under your name, 50% of the Fidelity investment, 50% of the security service, 50% of the second security service account, and 100% of the IRS refund that you already have in your possession. Is that correct?
Yes.
You all have agreed that Mr. Guevara will be awarded his 2020 GMC Sierra along with any debt associated with that vehicle, and he will be responsible for the insurance beginning April 1st, 2022. He's
Yes.
also going to be awarded the business known as RG Motors along with any inventory that is associated with that vehicle. With that business. Is that correct?
Yes.
He's going to be awarded 100% of the Wells Fargo RG Motors business checking account,
Yes.
100% of the Wells Fargo Rigo Suave Limited business checking account,
Yes.
50% of the Fidelity investments,
Yes.
50% of the security service account,
Yes.
50% of the second security service account.
Yes.
He's also going to be awarded 100% of the delayed commissions from any pending or forthcoming money that he has due to his previous employment at Charlie Clark Nissan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you believe that this is a just and right division of your marital property?
Yes.
Do you believe that the parenting plan that we are asking this court to approve is in the best interest of your daughter?
Yes.
Are you asking this court to grant you a divorce, sign a final decree, and grant you a name change to Brenda Jeanette Cervantes?
Yes.
Your Honor, I pass this witness to Mr. Garza.
I have no questions of this witness. I just have a couple questions for my client. Mr. Guevara, what Ms. Garcia basically did right now was read the entire mediated settlement agreement into the record. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Okay, you were present at the mediation, and is that your signature on the mediated settlement agreement?
yes,
You understand that you can, that's final now. Once the court has accepted it and approved it, there are no changes. This is it. That's gonna be the final order of the court. You understand that?
yes,
All right. The one thing that we did not talk about in the mediated settlement agreement was home furnishings, et cetera. But you're agreeing today on the record to allow Brenda Guevara to have everything that's in the home. You don't need any furnishings or portraits or anything out of the home, correct?
correct.
The only thing that you ask is that if there's family pictures, that you have copies of those.
Yes,
Okay. And you are asking the court to grant the divorce, correct?
yes,
All right. Nothing further, Your Honor. At this time, we'd ask the court grant the divorce and approve the agreement of the parties.
The court will take additional notice of all documents on file in this case. The court finds that it has jurisdiction by virtue of the domiciliary requirements of the family code. The court, having heard the evidence of the testimonial evidence of petitioner as well as respondent and assent to the mediated settlement agreement, the court here approves of mediated settlement agreement, orders any and all items that the parties agree to be incorporated into properly filed divorce decree for the court's signature. The court will grant the divorce as paid for. The court will approve the agreement of the parties, the division of the assets, and visitation and child support as stated on the record. And the court will grant the change of name from petitioner Brenda Jeanette Guevara to Brenda Jeanette Cervantes. Anything else?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Have a good day.
May we be excused?
Yes,
Thank you, Judge.
thank you. 2020 DCL 2956, One Gas Incorporated, Javier Alfaro, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Dominguez.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you today?
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Judge.
That's good, man.
Your Honor, this
But
case
you're
was.
fantastic by yourself because you don't have Mr. Dominguez to be fantastic with you. Where is he? Is he still on this case or what?
He is, and I traded text messages with him. Actually, I sent him a text message. This, if Your Honor would just either pass this case, it's a TRO that we've been continuing for quite some time. It has to do with access to Mr. Dominguez's client's property to check something by my clients on the pipeline.
Okay,
And we've been dealing with each other, for quite a while on this. It's not overly contested, and if you could reset it, we should be able to get this thing resolved within 60 days, if not sooner than that.
okay. All right, so what do you need, a 60 days, a couple of months or what?
Yes, sir. That'd be fine if you don't mind.
No, 2 months. May 26th, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. May I be excused?
Likewise. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Canales. (2021) DCR 2754, the state of Texas versus Quintero Tejerina, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here. I'm present.
All right, what are we doing on that one?
Your Honor, this first announcement setting, I have a plea offer, a plea recommendation from the state. I'd ask for no more than a 2-week continuance. We're either going to accept the plea or be ready for trial, Judge. I believe that my client will take the plea.
Give me 2 weeks. Please. The 11th, April 11th.
April 11th, Your Honor, 8
Thank you.
a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, Mr. Canales is in the courtroom since his client is going to be he's going to be doing time on that punishment.
Well, is Mr. Arriola, who is the prosecutor? I need both of you. I need to talk to you about that case, Mr. Arriola.
I'll head that way, Judge.
All right. But we need to take care of the rest of the docket.
Okay.
So hold on a second. 2012 DCR 420, Oscar Bautista, Mr. De Leon.
Good morning, Judge Cesar De Leon on behalf of Mr. Bautista. Judge, we have a motion to adjudicate for Mr. Bautista. Most of the violations are some reporting. He has been reporting this year, but more than anything, he's got about $15,000 in arrears, and the 10 years for the deferred adjudication is coming up, sir. I did speak to Mr. Arriola, and really that's really the big, he's missing about 20 hours out of like 300 community service hours, but more than anything, it's the big amount of arrears, Your Honor.
Who's the probation officer here? Ms. Atkinson, is that you?
No, Your Honor, it's Alejandro Garcia from the main office.
That's
Correct, Your Honor. Good morning. It's Alejandro Garcia. Let me go ahead and get it for you, Your Honor.
Where is he?
You should be logging on already, Your Honor. You should be logging on.
No, but Alex Dominguez is logging in.
Okay. You passed that one gas with Rodriguez to April, May 26th, right? Okay. All right. 2019 DCR 1116, Jure Cavazos, Mr. Elizondo.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right. Why is Mr. We set this for a reason to refresh my memory.
Judge, he was set on Hidalgo County cases for yesterday. And so you reset it for one day after to see if he'd be going to jail or what was going to happen there, Judge. I've been in contact with his lawyer, Mr. Carlos Ortegon. They're waiting for one more case to get to the DA's office, the one he was most recently arrested for. So they've reset all of his misdemeanors to August 16th, Judge. And since you let Mr. Cavazos out, he has gone and checked in with probation. And my understanding is he's getting, things done that he needs to get done over there, Judge.
This is yours, right, Ms. Atkinson?
Yes, Your Honor. I did call the county clerks yesterday. And they did reset all his pending cases to August the 16th. And he does have a new case, which he was arrested on March the 6th. And I don't know if Mr. Ariola is going to want me to submit an addendum to add that, to include that new arrest. And it is a misdemeanor.
What was the arrest for?
He was arrested for failure to ID, fugitive intent, give false information on March the 6th.
That's when he was arrested and served with the MTA warrant, Judge.
That is correct, Judge.
All right, well, what is the date of the reset?
August the 16th.
And where are we in terms of his probation?
He did report upon his release from custody. And I did give him the referrals that he needed to do some counseling, his classes, the drug and alcohol evaluation, also the 15-hour drug class. And those are the only two items that were ordered, conditions. And his case was ordered to get transferred to Hidalgo County, but since he has all these cases pending, I don't know if transferring at this point would be, unless the judge orders to have his case transferred to Hidalgo County. So he can be supervised over there.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna be supervised. I don't know. I'm not sure that we're not gonna have to take care of this with some jail time for him. Get this one over with. Then he could go concentrate on his problems in Hidalgo County. He has done more than enough to offend the conditions of probation and to offend this court.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's continued to ignore the violation of the law. I have forgiven a lot of violations that do not involve committing new offenses, but he is loaded with new offenses. And
Yes,
that
Your
is not a good thing. So I think we need to proceed forward with the motion to adjudicate this morning. Mr. Elizondo, are you prepared to do that?
Well, Your Honor, we had, if you will recall, maybe I think it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago, Judge, we did proceed with the motion. He did plead true. And that's when his mother and his aunt were here and they spoke on his behalf. And you decided at that point, Judge, to undo the accepting the plea of true and agreed to let him out pending what was going to happen in Hidalgo. I think it's safe to say now that he won't be going to jail in Hidalgo, at least not until August. And from my conversations with his attorney over there, he fully expects probation on the DWI, and I believe he already has an agreement in place.
That's what I suspected. Yeah, that's what I suspect is going to happen. I don't think that for one win that outcome is going to send him to prison or jail, but he's going to go to jail in my case. He's going to pay me back some time. He has been a total failure on probation. A total failure. He's made effort now that he's in this big hole, but you know, that's a little bit too late. He was given ample opportunity to comply. I gave him more than enough opportunity to do it the right way in a very short time. He decided to get complicated about it by ignoring one of the most important provisions that I have on conditions of probation is not to be violating the law anymore. And that one was blown to smithereens by him, by his conduct. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to reset this to after the August, but it doesn't really matter what's going to happen. I want some jail time. So you be prepared to go to jail at that time, son. So I'm going to ask you to be here in person so that you can go in and start immediately serving your time. All right? And I'm gonna reset this till Wednesday, the new trials set for August what?
August the 16th, Judge.
Okay, give me a date after August the 16th. August 19th, and we will continue this motion to adjudicate.
Yes, Your Honor, and we'll be there in person.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, 2017 DCR 1301, Jesse Abraham Ponce and Mr. Salazar.
Morning, Your Honor. Salazar here for Mr. Ponce.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down.
Thank you.
All right. This is Texas versus Mr. Ponce. I remember this one. Why did you stop reporting completely, Mr. Ponce?
The thing that happened, the ultimate reason why I stopped reporting and that I got sent into this whole revocation and stuff was because his supervisor told me for me not to show up and report until I came out negative for COVID. And I ended up being sent to jail. But the main thing was I had to report twice a month. And I was doing that, but I work out of state. And I was able to come back and forth. But they only allow me certain times and certain hours to be able to be missing work. And I try to let Mr. Garcia let him know that, unfortunately, there was not much I can do after when my hours were done. It was either if I would not show up to work, I was just fired. And this is the only thing that I have going on for me, sir. And I was supposed to be out of intensive probation a year after I started my intensive probation. As soon as I started that probation, I did all the classes. I did everything. I got all the certificates within a month. I was paying everything. I was reporting. COVID hit, COVID happened, and then they stopped doing reporting. But as soon as they opened up, I kept on reporting again and again and again. I was supposed to sign that paper for me to be able to turn from intensive probation to regular probation. To where I was able to report once a month, which was what I was asking for. Because the thing is that we fly on Fridays and we go back on Sundays. And when I was coming to Bronzeville to Harlingen, I was getting here after 5 and the office were not closed, and we were working till we fly on Sundays. So I talked to my boss. I talked to my attorney. I talked to my boss. I talked to everybody, and they're basically moving me back to Texas, so I won't be dealing with none of this stuff. I stopped reporting because I kept on having issue after issue after issue. But every month that I was not going, I was making sure, I was making sure that I was either calling Mr. Garcia or emailing Mr. Garcia. Like, I know that it's not likable and not suitable to be like, yeah, just because you come up with excuses doesn't mean that it makes it right. And I understand that, and you're completely right, sir. I understand that I could have gone other ways and I could have done much better to try to be there. And I understand that. But at the moment, I feel compromised. I'm sorry.
Gracias. You're muted.
Your Honor, good morning, Your Honor.
Morning. if there is an inkling of veracity to what Mr. Ponce just said, can you confirm that? If
Your Honor,
there's some truth to what he's saying?
well, Your Honor, let me just give you an explanation, Your Honor. One of the first things that we agreed to before he was allowed to work outside of the state, Your Honor, because he was well aware, Your Honor, that on surveillance, he must report twice a month in person. COVID came around, Your Honor, it wasn't an issue. He was reporting by phone or whatnot. He was almost on the verge of being reassigned, Your Honor, to a regular probation caseload. However, COVID came around. He said he alleged that he claimed that he was sick with COVID. I believe he may have sent some confirmation of being sick, but it then just got, one thing led to another, Your Honor. He did not report it. It got extended. He couldn't make the flights. I kept asking him to report in person. I kept warning him about, the conditions that he had to follow on surveillance, Your Honor, and he wasn't complying with it. And I understand that when they have COVID and they give us proof of it, we're okay with it. We work with them, Your Honor. But in this case, it was just a week after a week after a week that led to a month. And then he just stopped reporting, Your Honor, knowing well, Your Honor, that this would have been the third NTA that we're going to file on him. And he stopped reporting. There's no excuse for that, Your Honor. And that's the only reason why I filed, because he stopped reporting altogether. Because we were working with him.
Judge, if I may.
Yeah.
We submitted several screenshots to the court via email to the coordinator. And, to back up what Mr. Ponce is saying, unfortunately, he wasn't able to get all his the texts and the emails and calls that he was making because his phone, I believe, was damaged, and he wasn't able to recover everything, but he was able to recover some emails. Judge, we have emails from March explaining in detail by Mr. Ponce what the circumstances were. He wasn't trying to abscond. He was just in a difficult situation, just being that he works out of town. There is a submission in that evidence that those screenshots that we submitted were in August 10th. Mr. Ponce does have a positive test result. He was having a hard time getting testing afterwards because I believe at that point there was a pretty big surge and there was just no testings available. Mr. Ponce has made very real attempts, Your Honor, to do the right thing, but he, it was in a very difficult situation, being that, he's the sole breadwinner for his family. He's got a real good job, Your Honor. In that evidence that we submitted, there's a letter from his immediate supervisor that explains how Mr. Ponce is really good at what he does, that he has a leadership role, that he has a future in that company. He's in a good place right now. And, he was in a very difficult situation where it's either to try to report as best as he could within the limitations of the job. And in several of those emails, Mr. Ponce explained that he could fly from wherever he was at to meetings or anything like that, but what he was asking for an email or some sort of letter to show his employer that, hey, you know what, this is something I need to do, because if he didn't have that, then it was an automatic termination at some points. So, Your Honor, again, we're respectfully asking for Mr. Ponce to be given an opportunity to remain on probation. Your Honor, the probation for this case doesn't expire till 2027. I think Mr. Ponce will do what he needs to do to rectify everything that has happened in the past. And again, he's made attempts, Your Honor, and as Mr. Ponce stated, he realizes that, you know what, there could have been things that he could have done better, but it wasn't a situation where he just flat out ignored his responsibilities. Like he was trying everything that he could possibly do to try to rectify everything that was going on.
Your Honor, may I say one thing, Your Honor?
Sure.
Why is it that Jesse Ponce did not make any efforts or attempt to report since May 20th of 2021?
Well, to respond to that, Your Honor, those are the emails that we sent. There's a screenshot. There's an email from May 14th explaining his situation, another one in August, another one in June.
Have you seen those, Mr. Garcia?
I don't recall those emails at all, Your Honor.
All right, where did you file them with the court?
Yes, Judge. We emailed them directly to Ms. Solis or Ms. I believe it was Ms. Solis. Let me double check.
Well, Ms. Solis, do you have those? They're in the file? Oh, wait a minute. I have something in the file here.
Yes, I'm.
Okay, I have
The last emails that I have from Mr. Ponce, Your Honor, are from August of 2021. And he did send there was a picture of a positive COVID test result that he submitted. And I mean, I'm aware of that. You know, we had been speaking on the phone about that, you know, and I had been working with him as far as, you know, if you're sick, you can't come in and report, you know, he was aware of that. I was aware of that. But as far as him, you know,
well, that may
yeah,
that may explain some of the reasons why he didn't report. But Mr. Garcia, let me ask you something. He hasn't committed any new crimes.
No, Your Honor. Nope.
And to me, you know, that's pivotal. It's when they start committing crimes that I need to get them off the street because they're not obeying. So I don't see that he went bonkers, and he's gainfully employed. He's working faithfully at his job, and in doing that, he gets crosswise without probation. So I believe that what I would like to do on this one is modify it. Instead of his end date will be what is the end date of probation?
It is October 17th of 2027, Your Honor.
And we're gonna add it to 2028. We're gonna add another year, and he's gonna give me a good year to make up for that year that he has failed to report. Mr. Ponce, unmute yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I imagine you're still working for the same company. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And are you required to travel as often as you were before?
Yes, sir. The thing is that now they're making us work 3 weeks and I only go home from Thursday, Friday night, Saturday night, and I go back for Sunday morning. I'm only home twice a day, 2 days out of a month at home. But I already asked for the request on May the 5th. They're gonna be sending me to work in Texas so I can have my team in Texas. So that way, whenever I have to report or anything, I can just go ahead and drive down rather than having to fly from. Right now, I'm in Oregon. I'm in Portland, Oregon right now. So I'm going to Texas so I can go and report.
All right.
And
well,
whatever I have to do.
Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can we go ahead and modify that he can report by phone or by email to you? But until May, right?
Yes.
So as I hear him, in May he will be back in Texas through his job.
Yes.
So at that point, you know, he will be better able to accommodate a present in live reporting.
Your Honor, the court may modify him either back on surveillance, or we could put him on the medium to high risk caseload. I believe he will report once or twice maybe, but depending on his compliance and whatnot, they could work with him. But yes, Your Honor, whatever, if the court pleases,
But what do you mean by once or twice? Once or twice a week or a month?
a month.
A month?
A month, Your Honor. Yes.
That
Because
would
on surveillance, he reports twice a month. We do home visits, and he's not going to be here. So
Right.
it's better we place him on either on regular probation, Your Honor, where they can see him once every month or once every other month. That would be a regular
So that
probation.
you would transfer it out to a regular probation officer.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, let's put him on regular probation.
Okay.
Let's put him on regular probation and let's make sure that we work with that schedule. I'm trusting that what he's representing to me here is the truth, that he will be back in Texas and this will become less of a burden to him. The other thing, Mr. Ponce, you need to either pay me the hours of community service that I gave you, which I didn't give you too many, or do them. One of the two, but you're gonna have to get off the middle. You either wanna start doing one or the other.
Yes, sir. I'd rather pay for,
Well, you talk to that with your probation. Mr. Garcia will no longer be your probation officer. You are going to be referred to the regular probation staff probation officer, and you discuss that with him or her, what you need to do. But I need to see some action that you're doing, moving forward towards that. And I'm going to reset this for a status, and I'm going to give you to the end of the year, till November. I want to see how you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
All right?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the modification will include an extension from the due date of termination right now to another year.
Okay.
He will be modified from surveillance to regular probation. And he's going to.
We don't withdraw the MTA, Your Honor?
Yes. And we're going to require him to either, he has stated he wants to pay, he starts paying his community hours.
Okay. And the status hearing will be set for November, Your Honor?
November. Early November, whatever. November 10th, Mr. Garcia.
I have it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ponce, please call the office, 509-2251.
Hold on, repeat it again.
The direct number here is 509-2251.
509-2251. Call him, Mr. Ponce.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you.
I have given you the avenue that I should not see any more reports with you failure to report anywhere.
Yes, sir.
I have, this is it. I've worked with you.
Yes, sir.
Don't come back to me, Mr. Ponce. I will not hear any sob stories that you're working and you're feeding your family. You owe me this. You owe me probation. You committed a very serious offense. This is a trade-off. You
Yes,
got
sir.
it?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Thank you.
May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, Judge.
All right. Ms. Gonzalez, you have a plea.
Good morning, Your Honor. Well, we pled, I believe, on Wednesday, and then there was we committed an error, Your Honor, so we need to go back to the original plea agreement with all its terms of 2 years state TDC, probated for 4 years, Your Honor. This is on Dolores Mendoza. We had allowed her to do 4 years deferred probation.
I ordered
got a call.
deferred, yes.
Yes, and then the DA was advised, your staff, that that was not possible legally. So we're here back to go back to the original plea, Your Honor. And I did try to see if we can get her PTD or something else, but Mr. Sandoval is a negative on all counts.
Tell me how you would handle what your approach would be to a court according procedure 42A section.
Hey.
I don't have it in front of me, but there's a section around the chapter 42
Mhm.
that talks about you're successful in probation. If you successfully complete your termination of probation, you can request me to find her not guilty. I want you to look into that
Yes, Your Honor.
and see if that fits here, because that will be an option that we need to explain to Ms. Mendoza so that she will know how important it will be for her to comply.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you familiar with that section?
Are you talking about chapter the 42B or?
I'm talking about the process where it talks about, it provides in the Code of Criminal Procedure that if a defendant is successfully terminated from probation, that I have the ability upon petition to declare not guilty of the original charge and dismiss the case.
I have not heard of
So-
that, Your Honor, but I'll research it.
Because that will achieve what we talked about.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, when can you get back to me?
If you can give me a week, Your Honor?
All right, let's reset this for a week. Dolores, you're gonna have to come back in a week, but you would like that. It will benefit you, okay?
Yes, sir.
April what? April 1st at 8 o'clock.
Very well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Leon.
Good morning, Judge.
What did we do with that one?
Well, I would like the court to dismiss the motion to adjudicate, Your Honor, but I guess
You
we're waiting
would.
for
God damn. Okay, well, all right. Let's get past the dreams.
And Judge, it's the judicial clemency section of 42A. You are right, and they call it setting aside. If you search for it, it's there.
Yeah, it's called judicial clemency. So, maybe to save some time with Ms. Peña, if you could pick up the phone and call her and tell her what section.
I'll call her, sir. I think I have a paper I wrote on it somewhere.
Okay, there you
Okay.
go. All right, what are we doing with Mr. Batista?
Judge, I'll be honest with you. From the defense's standpoint, there's a big amount of arrears. I don't know what it comes from. I'm guessing I've seen a couple of these. There's a victim restitution fund from the state of Texas, and they usually pay out big amounts, and that's how we end up with these 8,000, 10,000 amounts in restitution. I don't think he's going to be able to make the amounts, Your Honor. I guess one option is to adjudicate him and put him on regular probation, then give him 10 years. I'm not a big fan of that one because they would prohibit him from eventually not having a conviction with the deferred. Unfortunately, he does have a couple of non-reportings, which would give the court the power to actually revoke him. You see, if he would have had a perfect record, he'd reported every single for the last 10 years, and the only thing that was missing was the money. It would be outside of the court's power to actually revoke them. But here, because there are a couple of other violations, it is within the court's discretion. But really, the big violation, Judge, is that he hasn't been able to afford to pay this amount.
Is that you, Mr. Garcia, on this one too? Probation. Who's on this one, Mr. Cortez?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr.
Bautista.
Garcia should be on there. I see him logged in, but he is not there. Let me go ahead and get with him.
Mr. Garcia, chico.
Give me a second.
Mr. Garcia, Oscar Bautista, what are you recommending on him? It's a money thing, right?
It's a money thing, Your Honor. He's struggling. He does have. He was telling me that he recently has custody of 5 children. So there's a total of 6 children in the house plus the wife. He's struggling to make.
From what? From where?
Well, I think the wife, the ex-wife, had custody of the kids, and now they took him away from her. And now he has custody of the kids, and so he's struggling, Your Honor. He hasn't been having steady work for quite a while, and he does owe a lot in restitution because of the offense he's on probation, and then of course probation fees, and it's mostly probation fees, Your Honor. His case will expire next month on the 13th, so we'll need to either adjudicate him, Your Honor, because we can't extend them at this point anymore, I believe.
Yeah. If we adjudicate him and place him on probation, what would be the end game here in terms of addressing what is owed? So if we put him on probation, we put him on probation with no fees, so he can address this. Or otherwise, we're just adding to the mountain of the pile of debt, in light of the circumstances you described them. So what are we gonna do? So that the only option would be that to not make it, it's gonna be totally counterproductive to order him to pay a probation fee because of the circumstances that you're talking about, right? So I don't have a problem with putting him on regular probation. The issue is, does it merit a conviction because you're poor?
And I'll be frank, Your Honor, that's
You
my
understand what I'm
concern.
saying?
And
Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, that's how I kind of throwing it around in my mind, I know it's his obligation. I know he committed the crime. I understand, why he's in probation. But the fact of the matter is that he's been compliant with the most important part of his probation, which is not to reoffend and to, maintain communications with you and report and do, he's not one of those strugglers,
Yeah, he has, Your Honor. He's
And
made
so-
some effort, Your Honor. He's between a rock and a hard place, Your Honor, at this point in time, and it is a lot of restitution and it is a lot of probation fees, Your Honor. So
yeah. So what is this right there? What is the probation fees? Restitution is $8,000, right? Delinquent, it's almost $8,000.
yes,
Probation fees are $4,300.
Judge, if the court finds him to be indigent, I think the court has the authority to basically terminate him without him having to pay any of the restitution or the probation.
I thank you for that, Mr. De Leon, but the court is keenly aware of that because this is plowed ground for me, and the court is aware of the issue about poverty and how it affects probation and revocations and things like that.
Judge,
but,
may I address the court?
But I also want to have some kind of justice for the restitution situation. That also deserves some merit. I mean, some consideration, as well as what we just talked about, his financial status. But the fact is, there is restitution owed. Somebody was injured financially as a result of his offense. So that's got to be balanced out. You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Leon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Maybe not in parity, but still balanced out somewhat. It doesn't have to be even Steven, but at least addressed it. Hey, I got away with all of it. What? No, I mean, there's a certain sense of fairness that strikes at the core of trying to reach a happy medium between the competing interests. His fact that he has not reoffended, the fact that he has been a good probationer, militates in his favor, of course, and so I think that, but the pickle is the conviction that you told me about.
And that's really let me say my concern from the defense standpoint, Judge, is that he was on deferred and if he's placed on regular probation, he will have an adjudication of guilt for a felony, as opposed to when he's on deferred. If he would have completed successfully, at the end he doesn't have a final conviction. So if we adjudicate him, he's going to have a final conviction. And again, like I explained to Mr. Bautista the first time I met him, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place because he did have some failures to report. And the Court of Appeals has said that just one failure to report.
Yeah, I don't need the financial reason. Yeah, I need just a violation, and one day, 1 month of not reporting is enough to send him to prison.
That's enough for the court. And but the restitution amounts, Judge, that I've seen from these last years, I guess the concern was that the state of Texas at one point would issue restitution from a victims fund, and then they would kind of throw it into the deferred adjudication or part of the plea package. And now they're liable to pay back all these amounts, which they never really determined. I know that a plea agreement is a contract. So I can't go back in time.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Avila, what was his restitution about?
His restitution is 8,692.
So, for what?
The injuries to the victims. So usually what happens is the Attorney General's Crime Victims Fund will pay an X amount, and then they seek, I guess, indemnification from the defendant.
So these funds are collected and sent to the state as reimbursement for them advancing.
Pretty much, yes. So essentially, it's restitution for the injuries on the underlying aggravated assault. Aggravated assault.
Well,
I think, Judge,
I stepped out of the house this morning and I said, what a wonderful day it is in the neighborhood. And now my head is spinning. Give me a second. Let me chew on this for a second, Mr. Leonardo. I know you're a very busy man, but you need to hang in there with me for about 5 minutes.
This is my only hearing for today, Judge.
Okay, great.
So we have all day.
I'm gonna go send smoke signals to the Indians and see what the smoke signals tell me. So if you know what I mean, you guys just bear with me for about 5 minutes. I appreciate it very much. Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Yes, sir. Come on, girl.
Oscar, te voy a hablar.
Okay.
Okay. Thought long and hard about this, Mr. De Leon. The court's going to go ahead and order that Mr. Bautista be unsuccessfully terminated from probation. So his probation will be over. Okay? You're muted, Mr. De Leon.
Thank you, Judge. So he's going to be discharged from the
Unsuccessful discharge from probation due to the amount of debt that he had, but he didn't comply with that. But he'll be off probation.
Okay, Judge. I will get with Mr. Arriola to see how to put maybe an order or something together.
Mr. Alejandro Garcia is going to submit the order. Unsuccessfully terminating for probation. Is that right, Mr. Arriola?
That's correct, Judge. Mr. Garcia will submit the order for your signature, and that'll be that.
Okay.
Okay, Judge.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Judge.
I'll head over there right now, Judge.
All right, thank you.
I'll call you, Oscar.
Yes, sir.
Are we excused, Judge? So I forgot to ask you. May we be excused, sir?
Mr. Bautista.